Um, Hello, family of soldiers. Um, it's a great honor to address you. I'm appreciative that they asked me because it gives me an opportunity to thank you and your children for the Mesiras Nefesh, the tremendous self-sacrifice they are doing for the people. We are all grateful for what they are doing, and we know you're scared. We're also scared, not as much as you, obviously, but every day we wake up and say, look at the paper to see what happened yesterday. So know that our prayers are with your children and our hopes are with your children, and we're very grateful to everything they're doing for us, Jewish people. Um, so I want to, maybe give a few divrei chizuk. Jewish people, we live on miracles. The world thinks that the physical world is the real world. Jewish people understand that the spiritual world drives the physical world. And that is why people all over the world are davening and doing chesed and doing mitzvahs to both to bring home the hostages and that there should be no injuries and no deaths among our soldiers. Because when we daven, when we do chesed, we make a difference in the spiritual world, and that affects the spiritual world. And it's obvious that we only exist and we only survive because of Yad Hashem, the hand of God. It's obvious to anyone who knows history, and especially those who know Jewish history, that the Jewish people being here, surviving thousands of years and thousands of years in exile it's actually incredible and miraculous. And that's because the first Jewish child was born in miracle. The first Jewish child tells us that the child is born in miracle. Sarah, we're told by our rabbis, had no womb; she was infertile, um, and um, and so. But nevertheless, he said nature doesn't apply to you. As a matter of fact, God comes to Abraham and says you're going to have a child, and Abraham says, "Can't Ishmael be the Jewish leader?" And God says, "Well, no." And that would have been a mistake, huh? So no, you'll have a child with Sarah. And then he takes Avram outside and he shows him the stars. And he says, see those stars? Thus will be your seed. Thus will be your seed. And Rashi asks the question, why does it have to tell us that that God took him outside to show him the stars? The stars are outside. You don't need to be if you're outside, if you see the stars, you are outside. So Rashi explains based on a Midrash. He says, no, he took him outside of nature. He said, nature, the rules of nature don't apply to you, to the Jewish people. Sarah has no womb, she will have a baby. Avram has no son, Avraham will have a son. Avram has no child with Sarah, I should say. But Avraham will have a child with Sarah. Sarai has no son, but Sarah will have a son. And your child will be born in a miraculous way above nature, above the mazal, above the stars, and and thus will be your seed. Your children and your children's children and your grandchildren and great grandchildren, they will all be miraculous. Because the birth through a miracle teaches us all about Jewish history. Jewish history follows the pattern of miracles, and that will be true until the complete redemption of Yerushalayim. The Midrash says, and God remembered Sarah, and then it connects that verse, God remembered Sarah, with another verse. Jerusalem, he who said of Jerusalem, she will be inhabited, and the cities of Judah will be rebuilt. And the Midrash connects those two psukim. Sarah, God remembered Sarah, and Yerushalayim will be rebuilt. What is the connection between those two psukim? And then it answers that the nations of the world never thought Yerushalayim would be rebuilt. They never thought we would come back to the land of Israel. But it will be rebuilt because there's God promised that. He who says of Jerusalem, she will be inhabited, for the Lord builds up Zion. That's from Tehillim. And if you have any doubts, says the Midrash, that Jerusalem will be rebuilt, look to Avram your father and to Sarah who bore you. Just like they had a child through miracle, Yerushalayim will be rebuilt through miracle. We will return to this land through miracle. We're born in miracle. We survive in miracle, and we return to this land in miracle. It's a miracle that we're here. What other nation went back to their land and to live there after 2,000 years of exile? What other nation did that? It's simply a miracle. The non-Jews never believed it would happen. When Rashi wrote that, and when the Chazal wrote those mentions, it was thousands of years ago. It was not way before 1948. And yet, it did happen. The non-Jews never believed it would happen. We Jewish people always knew it would happen. And we daven for it more than 3 times a day, because it's in benching, it's in so many tefillot. Return us to Yerushalayim, bring us back. Techazana Einenu, bring us back. And we always expected it. Of course, the fact that it happened, and many of us, were young when it happened, well, that's our miracle. We got to experience it. And how does that work, that God brings miracles? So my teacher, Rav Chaim Goldberg, who was a Rosh Yeshiva Kerem Yavne, taught me that God makes miracles when we make miracles. What's a miracle for a human being? A miracle for a human being is when I go beyond my nature. My nature as a human being is to gossip. God says, don't gossip. And I try not to gossip. So that's a miracle, that I actually go beyond my nature. You know what else is beyond our nature? Making Shabbos at 4:17 on an early Friday afternoon, just stopping everything, lighting candles. Okay, that's it. I'm done. That's not normal. Most people would finish their document, finish whatever they're working on, finish the video they're watching. No, we stop. When it's Shabbos at 4:17, we stop. And that's it. It's Shabbos. That's miraculous for a human being. We jumped into a sea. That's not normal. And we live by these miracles. So human miracles, we create human miracles by going beyond our human nature. And then God responds with miracles. And the example for that would be, let's say, Yosef, and in Potiphar's house, Potiphar's wife is trying to seduce Yosef day after day. Yosef is 17 years old. I don't have to tell you what that feels like for a boy. And every day, and he's just about to succumb to Potiphar's wife. His clothes are in her hand when he stops himself and he runs out the door. That's a miracle for a person. It's a miracle. So when we act with miracles, then God responds with miracles. We live by that. And your children, your family, they're also a miracle. They stood up for Klal Yisrael. They said, I want to be there. I want to defend them. It's not normal for a person to want to go to war, especially not a Jewish person. We just really want to, sit under our trees and, as it says in the Tanach, sit under our vineyards and, learn Torah or go to work, or, we want to live a normal life. So to volunteer to go to the army, and even those who don't volunteer, those who are drafted, the truth is they have such courage and self-sacrifice. They are also miracles. They go beyond their nature to protect Am Yisrael. And because of that, because of the miracles that we, the Jewish people, produce, and that your children are producing right now, God should respond to us with miracles. We should see a Yeshua. We should see a complete salvation in the situation. It's actually hard to imagine how that'll happen. War in the South and possibly a war in the North, and so many nations against us. Hard to see, but we survive in miracles. We don't rely on nature. By nature, well, but by God, by the hand of God, we will survive. We will be here. Please God, everybody should come out safely, and may Hashem bless you and your children. Be well.